Hi, and here we are on the next video about our amazing new book, The Potent Power of Menopause. It's a culturally diverse book that collects together a variety of women from around the world with an incredibly diverse perspective on menopause and this incredible event in women's lives. And today I'm joined by the fabulous Dr. Ann Moir-Bussy, and she is a transformative coach, educator, counsellor, consultant, and best-selling author, blimey. And she works with women on the journey of midlife into the afternoon of life. So welcome, Anne. It's really super lovely to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Kate. And it's really been an honour to be part of this book and to be able to share our experiences and join all these lovely women.
Yeah, it really has. Oh, and one man.
Yes. No, that was really great. One man, yes.
Yes. It's an incredible honour to be part of this collective, essentially, isn't it?
It is indeed.
And your chapter, so could you, I know that it covers all aspects of this, but you talk a little about the journey of transformation and the initiation of it. So can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes, certainly, Kate. To me, menopause is very much a journey, part of the life journey that we have. And it is about transformation. It's interesting, just before we started, I was looking out the window. We have a big tree and it's autumn, and the leaves were falling so effortlessly off the tree and letting the tree get prepared for its new life. And I think menopause is a bit like that, menopause, we're stopping menstruation, but we're also transforming ourselves, ready to be initiated into a new way of being and a new way of life that takes place after menopause and in midlife. So that's why I called it the journey of transformation first and then initiation. And, it's full of ups and downs. We all know that these changes, we've been through them before. When we started menstruation, we went through changes and transitions. And now this is one of the most important changes, I think, because it's where we come and blossom into the fullness of who we are as a woman.
I mean, that's an incredible transformation, and that's a perspective that we rarely talk about. We often talk about it as an end rather than a pinnacle, if you like.
Yes, and I think this is one of the sad things of the stories that have been told about menopause, that it's an ending. And it's not, it's a pausing in our life where we're not going to give physical birth anymore. But if only we take that little bit of time and allow things to transform, we're actually going to give birth in a very different way. It's a very creative time if we can tap into our own inner intuition, our own inner wisdom, and allow that to come to birth, because that then opens up a whole new phase of life for us, doesn't it?
Oh my gosh, it does. And I think that when I often say that to women, unlike when you entered into puberty, you were new in that sense. But now when you come to menopause, which is an equally it's a massive change for your body and for your whole self, just as puberty was, but you've now got decades of, if you're of average age, decades of experience and knowledge and ability which you've accumulated to this point.
And I often refer to this as the alchemical journey, because the alchemists in ancient times, they took the raw material and they tried to transform it into gold. And in a sense, this is what we're doing. All that material of the morning of our life, all those experiences, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything that's happened to us, those stories that are part of our life, if we take them into what I call the alchemical kitchen, put them into the blender, if you like, as the alchemists did, and let them be transformed, then we find inner gold. And that inner gold is something we can't see when we first start this part of the journey, because we see the mess or we see the things we don't like and we don't own them. But if we allow ourselves to do what the alchemists did and be with a guide who will help us, that means you can sit there and you can let all of this be transformed. And you have to be patient and just watch it very patiently and begin to do that inner reflection, and that inner reflection on those stories of your life, and begin to own them, because those stories are your stories. And if you're going to become and tap into that wise woman, you need to be able to sort of know how those stories have made you who you are right now. And if you can accept all of them and embrace them with self-compassion and with love, then you're transforming them and you're allowing something new to be born within you.
That's so beautiful. I think there were two things in that which really sort of struck for me, and that was the patience. You have to work and be patient with it. It does end. The other thing I love is the idea of the gold. If you can accept the stories of your life, then there is like treasure at the end of the rainbow, in effect.
I think part of the difficulty, I know when I was going through it, and a lot of women tell me that part of the difficulty is that the stories that we're calling our stories are often stories that other people have fed to us of what we should be or what we ought to be. And menopause is the time where we transform these to no longer being someone else's story, but turning them into our story and turning them into being the way we want to be. That we're not there to please other people anymore, in that sense of doing what we think we should do. Or if you're in a career, having to sort of meet up to masculine priorities or all those sort of things. That we're there now to what is ours, what was given to me by someone else, do I still need it? And then owning, as I said, all those things that have happened that have brought us to this stage, and transforming them so that we actually own and recognize the giftedness of who we really are. It took me a long time to recognize we're actually a gift. All women are a gift to the world, and you've brought giftedness that you need to share with others. And to sit on it or to fear it or just to sit there and think, oh, I'm getting old, it's too late, is denying the reality of who you are as a woman and what you can bring to other people. And our world needs women like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And what a waste. What a waste to deny it, not to bring your amazingness to the world and its fullness and its brilliance. The waste that is to fear it and to comply to those stories that are, are generational around about what this phase of our life is about. They're not new, not by any means, but they now have a certain nuance about them that we're reflected against very young women and told that we're old and no longer vibrant or no longer applicable, when actually that's so not the case.
That's true. And in my chapter, I refer to some fairy tales or ancient myths because I think they tell us a lot about the way of women from the ancient ones. The old people in traditional times had stories that helped a woman to move through this phase. And they use their imagination. And if only we sort of look at some of those stories and realize that, our stories are up and down and in and out. We can go everywhere if only we use our imagination and tap into that imagination and allow ourselves to, as I said earlier with you, that we blossom, we give birth, we become really creative and enable that to spread through the world. Because we need to remember where we came from and who we are. And that's so important. And menopause is such an important time. Use this time to reflect, to grow, to open up, and to become the word that a lot of people don't like, to become a crone. Because a crone initially meant she who crowns her wisdom. It got denigrated so terribly, but it means she who crowns her wisdom.
Yeah, it has got incredibly denigrated. And I think that sadly, that sort of masculine story that we've been told about what the crone is, because let's face it, it's about demeaning female power. That story has somehow become the reality, instead of us understanding what it actually is and owning that symbolism, if you like, that identity.
The world needs women who are really radiant in the power of who they are and the beauty of who they are. And that will attract men too. I mean, that's, we can do it with men, but we have to lead the way and show them.
Yeah, and there is no doubt that the world needs that female radiant energy at the moment. We need to take the courage that is being delivered to us at this phase in life and bring our menopausal and postmenopausal selves to the table, because the world needs us without a doubt.
Definitely.
So before we end our video today, is there any last comments, Anne?
Just encouraging all women to take this journey. David White, a beautiful poet, has a series he calls Midlife and the Great Unknown. And the great unknown is an adventure. And like all journeys, we can be fearful, but if we just sit in our fear, we don't go anywhere and we don't discover anything. And I think this is now the time where we enter the great unknown and discover things we'd never imagined or never seen before.
What a beautiful sentiment to end on. Please remember, always subscribe. There is a whole series of these videos there. There's one for every single chapter in this incredible book, The Potent Power of Menopause, and it's out on May the 11th. So please subscribe, and we will see you soon.